Well, hello, happy Saturday, everybody. How are you doing? Thanks for posting your gifts regarding the question I asked earlier. What are you doing this weekend? If you haven't done that already, some of them are hilarious, so go take a look below at those and post your own when you get a minute. Want to talk, I was reading online about something someone wrote about 10 reasons to become a paralegal. And some of them were not really true. I don't know who wrote these, but I want to go over a couple of them, and we'll go over more as the days go on. But I want you to always know what this career is about, and if you have any questions whatsoever, post them while I'm talking. I may not see them come up on Facebook, but while I'm talking, I'll see them later because sometimes Facebook neglects to show them, okay? Even if you say hello, they won't show everything to me. But if you have any questions, go ahead and post it or go into the private group if you are not in the legal field now. This is only a group for people who've never worked in the legal field in any capacity, and it's called Paralegal Break-In, okay? And you have not taken my course. Okay, if you've taken my course, this is not a group for you. So Paralegal Break-In is for somebody who's pretty green. Maybe you're in school, that's okay. Maybe you're going through a certificate program. Maybe you have a high school diploma, or maybe you have 10 degrees and you want to be a paralegal. Whatever this scenario is, come join us in the group. And there'll be special postings going in that group as well. I asked a question a short time ago of the group to look it up, do it, and figure out what this legal word meant, a word we use in the legal field. So ask to join, answer the questions that I ask when you go to join the group, and then we'll go forward, okay? All right, so here's the two of the items that we need to cover. Hey Sandy, oh, you are welcome. Glad you're here. Good to meet you. Good to see you if you've been here before. So you'll always, I'll make this statement and then we'll talk. We'll have a coffee talk. You'll always be in demand. Paralegals are in demand. Even in this situation that we're in now, when this starts to lighten up, and don't think there aren't people working right now. We're working. Not behind the scenes, we're working. We might be working from home, but we'll soon be back in the offices, and then they'll be needing more paralegals just because of things that are going to happen because of this situation, okay? I did a video on the 4 hot areas of law that I base on just being in the career for 30 years and seeing the ebbs and flows of certain areas of law. And given what has occurred in the last few months, I'm saying that these are the 4 hot areas that will be coming up once the world starts to, well, once we in the U.S. start to get back on track, and that will happen. But get on the mailing list and you'll be able to access that particular video. I have it in a special place called the Paralegal Subscriber Hub, and but you need to be on the mailing list in order to access that. So if you're not, just go to my website, paralegalcoffeetalk.com, and look up at the top and get a couple of the complimentary items that I have there. The 19 alternative paralegal careers list. You'll see that right at the top. And the free chapter of my book, Legal Break-In. And you'll be on the mailing list, okay? I don't send emails out every single day. Once a week would be stretching it. So make sure you're on that mailing list. Okay, so here's the topic, the first point. You'll always be in demand. Depends on the area of law that you work in. That's why I did that video. There are many areas of law that are hot, but those I believe are going to take off. Okay, hi Steph, hi Lola. Good to see you. Good morning. Or good afternoon. Well, it's almost afternoon here, but good morning, everybody. So, you will be in demand if you choose the area of, or areas of law, and there are many, that are in demand. So, there are fewer jobs for people who do estate planning. They're out there. Believe me, they're out there. But it's an easy breezy. I don't mean that it's easy, but I've worked in it. It's a calm area of law. Estate planning is when you do wills and trusts and healthcare directives, powers of attorney, that type of thing. You're helping someone with their estate, planning it in case, for the future when they finally pass away and their loved ones don't have such a hard time in figuring out what to do. It just pulls it all together. So it is a very calm area of law to work in. But are there a lot of jobs in that arena? Yeah, here and there. Most attorneys don't specialize in just doing estate planning. They do, they might do complicated trust work. And you can look up what trusts are, T-R-U-S-T, and what some of those documents are that I mentioned. But the video will go into those very hot areas, okay? So get on the mailing list. Is the job going to, or the career going to go bye-bye? No, it's not. Just like attorneys aren't going anywhere. And let me tell you, attorneys don't do well without their assistant by their side. So the career is not going to be replaced by software or anything of the sort. Attorneys like to say that, but one attorney told me that 17 years ago. So be careful about listening to supposed facts that are based on theory. And the word theory means unproven. So don't base your, whether you go into this career or not based on unproven fact. Okay? Listen to people who are in the career at this moment in time. Okay, so it's not going anywhere, but I want you to think long and hard about the area of law or areas that you're looking at. It's not for you to pick and choose necessarily. You have to look at what jobs are open right now and what do I have to do to get in those. Okay, and it's not always about school. The practical side of being a paralegal, the things you do every day, much of it is not taught in school. So always remember what I'm saying here, okay? Number 2, you will have a stable job. Well, let me say that I want you to take the word job out of that sentence and put the word career. And I want you to not have the word you'll have. Take the word have out of there and put you'll build a stable paralegal career. This is up to you to build something. You have to get out of the thinking about that you will be an employee, no doubt. But I want you to, in your heart of hearts and in reality, look at it as something, as a career that you're building for you. When I teach how to do an interview properly, I always teach, not only expect them to ask you this question, this question, this question, but the questions you should be asking the employer, the potential employer, so that you know this is a good fit for you. Now, if you haven't gotten the free chapter of my book, Legal Break-In, go to my website, paralegalcoffeetalk.com, get that free chapter. and that's a really good chapter, okay, that I put there for a reason, so that you would be able to learn something from it. So get that chapter, okay? It talks about some areas of law. The thing you have to determine is what lights your fire and all of that, because why? You're building a career. If you look at it as just a job, you don't care where you land. We all want a paycheck. We all want that income coming in. But as and when you start out, you can't always be very choosy, okay? Don't always be very choosy. You've got to keep your mind open. Don't lock yourself in a box. But then you start to see, and you can know this beforehand, what you're geared to. And that first job may not be the job that you're geared to, but you're learning a whole boatload of information. And that's what you want. And then you take that to the next job. I don't want you to think that it just has to be a fact that you were going to stay in that first job for 10 years. That probably won't happen. Does that mean it's unstable? No, there are so many things that can happen. What I want you to look at is happiness and for you and fulfillment. Fulfillment. Okay? Not just taking what somebody else is handing you. That you can be choosy. But that first job is the foot in the door, right? I'm looking at your comments. Hi there. Good to see you, Ro. Good to see you here. So, you'll always be in demand. But I want you to open your mind to experiencing different areas of law. Why? That will make you more well-rounded. That will give you more flexibility if something happens at your job or your second or third job, but now you've got a whole lot of knowledge under your belt about different areas of law. You catch what I'm saying? So that now you have more flexibility, that if this job opens up and you have experience in that, you can jump into it and bring your knowledge to the table. Now, have attorneys ever talked to me about this? Well, one attorney who looked at my resume, he said, man, you've worked in many different areas of law. And he didn't look at that as a negative. He looked at it and said, you are very well-rounded in your legal knowledge, okay? So don't put yourself in this box. It must be this way. You're not old enough to be too set in your ways. I'm older than most of you here. I would venture to say all of you here. So don't get set in your ways. I'm not set in my ways. Don't get set that it must be this way. Break out of that, okay? Hi, Chris. Good to see you. So that's the 2 points I wanted to cover today. Demand is high. It's going to be high. It hinges on areas of law. When somebody says to me, I don't know what area of law I want to be in, I want you to go investigate areas of law, okay? And if your heart is set on family law or criminal law, I want you to not only investigate the area your heart is set on, but I want you to investigate 2 or 3 other areas that are not so obscure that nobody's practicing law in them, but that are hot. And that's why you need to watch that video if you have not already, that I did, okay? So get on my email list, and then you'll have access to the hub. Hi, Rocio, how are you? Good to see you. Will you have a stable job? Okay, let's talk about stability. This is what has happened over 30 years. I had, let's see, the first partnership I left to get a bona fide paralegal job While I was working in my second job, the partnership at the first law firm started to fall apart. No hostility, no anger. It was not meant to be. Two of the partners stayed together. The other partner and I had lunch together because I worked for him when I was a legal receptionist, legal secretary, and I became his paralegal at the new firm. Okay? Hey Sandy, I'm reading your comment. I'll probably answer your question. Well, it's not really a question. Oh, can I use this? I'll answer your question if you don't mind, Sandy, just a little bit later, okay? If you don't mind, but I will answer it, okay? Good question. So that was one change up. A partnership dissolved. I talk about it in my book, Legal Break-In, as far as what happens when the partnership dissolves. Sometimes they don't get along, and that kind of throws a wrench into the works. But that happened while I was at my second law firm, and I wasn't really happy in that law firm. And so when this opportunity came up, I went with this particular attorney that was part of that original partnership. Some people leave to go, an attorney may leave, your attorney that you've been happy with may leave to go work in another law firm, and they don't need another staff member. They already have enough staff, and they don't want to let anybody go at that law firm, so that attorney can't take you. So when you look at, there are other scenarios as well, but when you look at this career, I want you to think about building a career, not getting a job. Because when you look at it that way, you're not going to wait for somebody to spoon feed you knowledge. They're not going to train you at the law firm. You have to get all that beforehand. And that doesn't mean school, doesn't mean a certificate. You get knowledge from that, but you don't get the practical side that you need on day one. Okay? Remember what I'm saying here. I want you to get out of that. This is a job. It's a career that you're building. When you do that, you will have so much flexibility here, and in reality, in your, you'll know that you have flexibility because you're thinking hard about how to add value, not only to the law firm in everything you do and adding skills to what you already know, but you are looking at it like, wow, I'm building something for myself. Get out of that employer-employee mindset. That's how they're thinking. That doesn't mean that's how you think. Okay? I was raised to have that mindset, employer-employee. I was not raised to be an entrepreneur, but in effect, you are an entrepreneur. You are building this career for yourself so that if you are unhappy, you won't feel stuck. If you are unhappy in a particular law firm or with that attorney, you won't feel stuck. You're like, cut your losses, you go to a different law firm. Okay? Got it? All right. Will it always be stable? It won't. What job is 100% stable? What career is 100% stable? So no career is 100% stable. It's what you're building so that you can move and be flexible and go somewhere else. See? So the worst thing in the world is to be at a job and feel like you don't have any choices. When you build a career in the paralegal field, you have choices. You have to give yourself time to build it, though. You have to do a lot of the building before you start sending resumes and cover letters out. They need to know what you can do for them. And it isn't all about customer service and typing. Okay? So if you have the opportunity to join me in my course as I launch it on the 15th, come and join me as we talk about those things you need to know before you send anything out. You have to know what to say to them in your cover letter, but you also have to have skill sets to back it up. And does that mean spending thousands of dollars on school? Not if you don't have to. I don't like people going into debt to go into this career, and it is not mandatory no matter what anybody tells you. But if you're in school, I want you to finish. If you're going through a certificate program, finish. But if you are thinking you are excluded because you can't do any of those things, throw that thought out the window. You are not excluded, but you have to do work to get to that point. Okay, before you send resumes and cover letters out and hope it sticks like a spitball, that does not work. Okay, you can send 80 resumes and cover letters out, but that's just a waste of your time because you're not able to say to them what they know they need from you, and you don't know it yet. So once you're on the job, it will take you anywhere from 6 months to a year to understand what in the world you're doing. Okay, but you can get ahead of that curve by joining us in Paralegal Inner Circle class. Okay, and you can find out more about that on my website, but I won't go into detail here. So that's when I read the list of reasons why you should become a paralegal or to become a paralegal. There are stories behind these statements that you need to know. You know, paralegals are in demand in specific areas of law. And there are many areas of law that they're in demand for. Will the job or career always be stable? I'll call it a career. Will it always be stable? No. Because there are things that happen. The law firm collapses because they didn't know how to market themselves. That hasn't happened to me, but I've watched them shut down a division in another city because of that. Because attorneys do not know, a lot of them do not know how to market their business. But those who do will have an endless supply of clients coming in. That's important because it keeps you employed. That's who the clients pay the bills, pay the salaries by the money that they provide. So you don't know ahead of time if the law firm that you're interviewing with is necessarily stable financially. That would be difficult to find out. You can find out some other things in the interview that will make or break your decision to go with them, and that's part of what I teach. But as far as knowing how they are financially, not easy to find out. Okay, so that would be like the downside of that. But that goes for a lot of businesses. You could go work in a restaurant and not know that they're very close to closing, you know, and having owned a restaurant, most of the time the owners want to keep that quiet so they can figure things out. And attorneys do the same thing. They're trying to bring in a lot of business, but a lot of attorneys don't know how to do that. It's not that difficult, but it's something that they kind of detest. And so that could cause instability from that standpoint. The paralegal career is not unstable. And when you learn as much as you can before you go into the career and afterwards, then you're building something that's really strong and that will serve you well for the future. And we all want that. And it takes a little time to do that. And are you going to make $50,000 when you start? No, why should they pay you that? Why should they pay you $50,000? What job pays you $50,000 to start unless you're a doctor or a specialized nurse who's already worked and crafted and had experience in a lot of the skills? You know, why would they pay a paralegal $50,000 who's totally green or very close to being maybe 50% green? So don't go by average salary that you looked up on Google. That is not the case. And I don't discuss salary because these are all businesses that set the salary themselves. So there's no way of knowing that. But you have to know what you need to support your family. Okay, so figure that out. What are your expenses and what type of income do you need? And is it reasonable to expect that in the paralegal field? In some cases, no. Not when you're starting out. You have to earn that. You know, you have to learn a lot so that you can trade off your knowledge for money. Okay? All right, so if you're posting questions, I'll answer them later. And I'll come back on either with a video or I'll answer them and type in the answer. So thank you for being here. I'm going to take off and have a great Saturday, great weekend, and keep busy. Don't watch too much news and stay away from that. You know, don't overdo it with that. It's not a positive thing. And I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.